අපි පළවෙනි chapters හතරේදී කතා කරා first chapter gave it had a discussion on basically on software evolution and software maintenance activities. We in detail discuss those two activities and in general these two phases, evolution and maintenance. And the second chapter we discuss software engineering, again kind of software evolution activity. That means knowing without doing major changes to the system architecture and without adding new functions and so on, without adding new features, without doing major changes to the system architecture. We concentrate on improvements to the code structure and its documentation, data, and so on, data structures. Then third chapter we talk about how to handle legacy systems, because legacy systems we cannot just drop out, throw it away, leave them alone, drop them out, but still we can get them, get some work out of them. So if you can do something to keep the legacy system intact with your business in terms of cost and other issues to be beneficial. So in this chapter 3 we discuss how to handle legacy systems maintenance and evolution process. In the fourth chapter we talked about software deployment. Software deployment means it's not simply involves after development go and just install the software in the customer site, so that enabling they can therefore work use the software systems for their business purposes. In addition to that, we have to take additional measures to make the customer feel happy when software is in use. So this can be done. This is achieved through system training, user training, and providing good documentation for the users to see if we encounter problems when the system is under operation. We identify two types of users: daily users or end users who are directly using the system for their business purpose, so their functional purpose. You can and operators, and they will help users to enjoy their services, use computers, software, solve their business, carry out their business activities and other activities in automated means. And maintenance people can help in this regard by providing supporting services. And also maintaining good documentation is important. User manuals, programmer manuals, developer manuals, and other documents produced for various audience in the software operation life cycle, development operation life cycle. The fourth chapter is the important chapter, what we call configuration management. This chapter is about how to handle changes, how to manage changes. This is an important chapter in this course. So in this session, I'll give a quick introduction to configuration management. Configuration management, as a name implies, looks the name looks confusing. As goes on, I think you'll understand what these terms means. So as we discussed throughout in this course, software systems are subject to change continuously during the development and it's in operational use. There are a couple of reasons that we can give for this in this regard. One reason could be, as you already know, customers will, users will offer new functionality. They will ask for new functionality to be added to the software. Another reason could be there could be requests for repairs. Software testing is not an exhaustive process, meaning that every program construct, every for loop round, every execution part of the program, and every variable, every statement, right, cannot be tested. Meaning that, in other words, software system behavior, which in simple terms, software system behavior, we cannot test 100%. Complete behavior of the software system, testing the complete behavior of the software system is practically impossible. කියන්නේ අපි ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකක් දුවන් පස්සේ ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එක ඩෙවලොප්මන්ට් කරාන් පස්සේ ඒකේ කම්ප්ලීට් බිහේවියර් එක ඉස්සෙල්ලා බෑ 100% as per the specification supposed to do, the complete behavior of the software system that match the specification is difficult test. Let's say now, we have a program, there is starting point, there's end point. From going from my start point to end point, there are different execution paths. සරල උදාහරණයක් කිව්වොත් එහෙම මේ අපිට ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකක් තියෙනවා if then else structures ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. So we have one if then else structure, then followed by another if then else structure, followed by another if then else structure. I will take this example to explain you what is the execution path means. Let's say we have a program now. Program here we have program statement. The one is then here. Then else after some time another if then else. I'm writing a skeleton of a program, lot of if then statement with for loops. Assume we have programmed with 3 if then else statements. We have a starting point and end point. One execution path is let's say we have a start here and we have end here. And here we will start from this instruction at the beginning. It start, then flow goes, and if and you found here if then its statement. We have two cases. If condition true, condition false. Then condition true, no, then you come after executing this part. After executing this part, you come to this statement. Make it if then else. Method true false method true method true. I on Palladana Tagatina. The method true, right? The method true, the execution part Tagatamai, true. Gila gila and integrated. That's one execution part. Another execution part is that method true, method I'm try two method false and not one. So make a two method false part again, method false select method false select method two try method false method execution part true, make a false, and you come to the end, another execution part. Right? So make a true it was say make a false make a false. So altogether after parts the guy attack right? Follow up if you have follow with 100 rounds, maximum number of 100 rounds, there will be 100 execution paths. Take a simple program which will contain only one for loop with maximum of 100 loops. There will be 100 execution paths. So practically it is difficult to test all this execution path. In other words, complete behavior of the system cannot be tested practically to check whether the program meets its specification. Therefore, what we do is when we came to come to some confidence level that our software is fault free, we decide to we take a decision to stop testing. So maybe we are confident that 95% fault free or 98% fault free, meaning that some uncertainty is leaving some uncertainty there. So fault could be there in this uncertainty. Fault could be hidden within this uncertainty. If anupak hari pak doubt. If I have faults in the puluang when software is in use. Therefore, faults can come at any time when if they occurs, they are to be fixed. So there could be requests for adapting the software for new environment like changing hardware, changing operating systems. So you had to address those issues by issuing a new version to the new version of the operating system. You had to issue a new version for the new hardware that later added to your infrastructure. So therefore, for these reasons, and they have to be addressed, meaning that software system should be continuously changed during development and its use. And what is configuration management? In short, we say CM. If I use the word CM, that stands for configuration management. That is standing for configuration management, right? So configuration management is concerning with managing, making changes. So main goal is to manage doing changes to the software system. So we are going to see later on this changing process is a very complex process, especially for the large software systems. It's a very complex process, especially for large software systems. So therefore, we have to manage this process very carefully, efficiently, and cost-effective and in a timely manner. your goal is also to reduce the cost and the time taken for the change implementation. Another thing is system change is a teamwork. Teamwork. Uh, yeah, software developers will do the code. They do some kind of unit testing and there are specialized people, quality assurance people working on the system testing. If they found errors in certain modules at the system testing level, they have to be passed back to again to the developers for adjusting the fault. So this is not a team activity; it's a team activity. So when you are working as a distributed or localized team members, many people involved in the uh, development and testing and maintenance process. Uh, so you need a way to handle these communication problems. ගොඩක් ටීම් එකක් ඉන්නත් වැඩ කරනකොට communication is a very important matter. If you do not pass the correct message to correct person, uh, there might have some coordination problems, right? So careful procedures therefore is required to handle this changing process. So goal of CM is to control the cost involved in changing process. Also control the time taken for the changing process. So CM aims to control the cost and time involved in making changes to the software system. So what are the activities of the configuration management? In high level, we can say, in a very high level, we can say configuration management is concerned with creating policies and using policies, creating procedures and using procedures, and use tools for managing changing software systems. So you can create your own policies, standards, or you can you can follow other standards during this changing process. And CM involves using these policies and procedures, and we can get the tool support is necessary for this endeavor, this activity, this process, and get the tool support and do it, right? If you do not, why CM is needed, why configuration management is needed. Otherwise, very easily you might lose track of what changes has done and what components, what changes has done to the components, and so there should be a record in somewhere. If you do some changes to a component, it has to be recorded. So component will be improved from time to time, doing additions, changing. So changes done to the components has to be recorded. Changes done to the version of the software system has to be recorded, and with many other activities, right? If you don't do that, then otherwise you might lose track when and what kind of changes and when you did the changes to the software component that system as all you might lose at one point. As an example, just take this diagram. The first column is a requirement document which contains the requirements R1, R2, R3 can requirements and R2.2 can second version of the requirement R2. Second version of requirement R2. So first column is a list of requirements. Second column is a list of design documents. List of design components. List of design components. So we have one big component, one module here, component module here. Then that module contains submodules, assuming that way, submodules. Big rectangle represent one module. Within that submodules, again another module, submodules, like that. So there is an arrow between requirements and design components, meaning that this requirement is a problem. This design, relevant design components are these ones. Relevant design components are these ones. Maybe this could be a class diagram you draw in order to identify the classes required to meet this requirement, the methods, functions required to meet this requirement. This could be a user interface part that is required to meet this requirement, user interface part. So these are interface design component required to meet this requirement. This could be if it is database is required, this component handle the database part. So to meet this requirement, we have to have these tables to be used, the database and so on. So there is a direct arrow between requirements to the design components, meaning that if you want to meet this requirement, you have to have these design components. They provide the solution for the meet to realize the requirement. Then the third column contains the code, relevant code component. This class diagram, this design component, you can find the code in this program. If it is Java, M1 Java, M1.java, M2.java, like that. So we have arrow from this design component to a code component, meaning that you can find code of this design component here. Then test cases, M1. If you want to test this program, this code component, use test cases 1.T1. This test cases T1, use it for test M1. If you want to test M6, use this test cases. So there is a complete link between requirements to design to components, and component to test cases. So complete traceability is there. And this traceability is required, otherwise you might lose when you maintain software. You might lose at some point, you might lose the track, where are you? उदाहरणार्थ विधेयक so there is a change for this requirement, change for this requirement, and if you want to change this requirement, what code modules we should address for this regard. But what modules we should address in this regard. Changing requirement means there may be necessity to change the design in some way. So part of the design has to be changed, part of the code has to be changed. If you cannot locate the correct design module or correct program code, then you are in trouble when it's come to maintenance and changing. We are talking about simply not a simple program, it's a complex, large program which contains thousands of files, hundreds of source code files, thousands of source code files sometimes, thousands of hundreds of design documents and other documents. So how are you going to choose among this large collection, what is the relevant code program that you need to address? What is the relevant design component that we should address in order to make this change, achieve this change, do this change? So CM tools, configuration management tools help this process. That means they are maintaining a database. So in that database, for example, we have this traceability stored. So my requirement is that design code test cases. So the relations are maintained within the database by capturing relevant information that are required, so relevant data that are required to keep the link in touch always without losing them. If you break this track, what will happen if you break this track, meaning that you lose the track? The connection between design and code is broken. That means that you lose the track. No way now, if it is broken, you have no way to identify what are the correct code components. Also, you are using test cases. Using test cases as well. හරි එතකොට මේ මෙතන මේ ලින්ක් එක ගැටුනොත් එහෙම මේ traceability නැති වෙනවා. track traceability නැති වෙනවා. That means you are losing the connection. So in one way, this configuration management tools will help to keep these links going, to maintain these links recorded. And in fact, configuration management is simply to handle group projects, right? Group projects, not individual projects. If you are working alone with your own project, this is not very important. It's not very important, but it is very important if this CM process is very important, CM management process. So CM process is very important, especially for team projects. Made by different developers. Maybe these developers sometimes are localized, sometimes they are distributed, especially this in pandemic environment. All developers, software engineers now working their home, working from their home. Also sometimes the group size, the development group size is very large. To avoid the communication barriers, using tools is essential. It's very effective to the job. So some other examples why CM is needed. Now we have lots of versions of the software, lots of versions of the software, lots of versions of the components, lot of versions of the component, lot of versions of the software. Version එකක් කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? කියලා පස්සේ මේ lecture එකේ පස්සට පැහැදිලි කියලා කියන්න. Right now we are rough understanding about software version, meaning that the instance of the software system that is circulating among the development team, that is under development and still in testing process, still not yet distributed for the customer. It's still under development process, but circulating within the customer developer circle. So we have a number of versions. If changes is request, you might choose the wrong version for the modification. So correct version need to be picked. Select for the change process. If you choose a wrong version, then there's a problem. And customer has made a request for the custom software that is delivered for him. The software is a custom software, and he has made a request for changing something. And we address the change, and then we have to distribute the correct version for the relevant customer. The customer request kara, change address kara. There are too many versions available, and you select the correct version and make that change. Then if you release the software to wrong customer, somebody else is making the request, but you correct it and you deliver it to a wrong person. So that could be again problem. And software code is changed. A change is done to certain functionality. And see in this version, the current version, some function is changed and it has to be recorded. May version එකේ මොන function එක change කරයාද ඒවා record දෙන්න ඕනේ, right? So you want to keep track for this version where the changes has done. So this has to be maintained. So this kind of tasks are performed generally. In fact, many IX this simply list few of them. මේ වගේ තමයි සාමාන්‍ය කන්ට්‍රෝල් මැනේජ්මන්ට් වලින් කරන්නේ, right? CM වලින් කරන්නේ. So when you go from new version to another version, that means change request has come. Why you should go from one version to another version? Change request, because of change request. Change requests can come from any stakeholder involved, including end user, developer himself, managers, who also are beneficiaries of your program. So this change proposal might include requests for new requirements, requests for fault corrections, as we said in the beginning of the lesson, requests for adapting new hardware and operating systems, and also several versions may under development and in use at the same time. එක වෙලාවේ versions කීපයක් it could be under development. Why? We'll explain later on the discussion. We'll explain later in the discussion. එක වෙලාවේ versions කීපයක් development parallel development for some reasons. What are the reasons? We'll take later discussion. What are the CM activities? Basically, we can identify 4 main CM activities: version management, system building, change management, and release management. These are the 4 main umbrellas. Release management, system building, change management, and version management. The first one is version management. It's about managing versions. So version is made up of components. Software version is made up of software components, and components itself has many versions. System components could have many versions. So version management is about controlling and managing these different versions of the component. And it's possible that two developers might change the same component at the same time. How this can be done, we'll explain later. එක වෙලාවේ two developers can work on the same component. බැලුවලට හිතෙනවා මේ කොහොමද කරන්නේ කියලා, but it can be done. How it can be done, we'll discuss as it goes on. For the time being, we assume that one component can be underdeveloped by two developers. So their work should not be overwritten. Mankarabu change, the second developer should not be allowed to overlap it. Then what I have done is overriding and vice versa. Mamu karabu deka, mamu change karabu deka, අනිත් එක්කනට override නොවෙන්නත් අනිත් එක්කන කරපු එක මම override නොවෙන්නත් there should be a way to handle this, right? It's not the case. It's not happen. The developers themselves, the changes done by the developers themselves should not be override from one over another. So we need to somehow prevent this. So version management are concerning on these kind of activities. Managing, controlling component versions and make sure that parallel development of a component is possible by too many developers and their work should not be overlapped. And one person work should not be effect for other person and vice versa. Then system building. System building is about assembling now. So when you build a system, you are producing different artifacts. Programs are one artifact. And programs, to write program, you need library files. Sometimes program has to use data files that contains metadata required to run the program. Metadata required to run the program. So building system is about C program. You write a C program. At the beginning, you are importing header files. Which are already built program. So you are just reusing them. ඔයගොල්ලෝ import කරලා ගන්නවා. එතකොට compiler එක මොකද්ද කරන්නේ මේ at preprocessing level those header files will be attached to your source code. Those header files will be attached to your source code. After that, the compilation is done. So we have one pre-processing step prior to compiling, just to connect your source code and library files together. Combine library files to your source code. So system building is assembling programs, library files, and other data files required to build the system. And you assemble them, then after that, after linking, you compile them, create a exe file. That is happening in system building section. We'll discuss also that. And change management. Once a change requests come, how to manage it? How do you change කරන්නේ? ඊට පස්සේ change කරන් පස්සේ you have to do testing. The change request change පුළුවන් duplicate. Change request can be duplicated. I make the change request, that change request can come from another person. Right? Some third person. Right? So the change request might be a new one, or change request might be already duplicated, and some change requests are already implemented, some are not, some are under consideration, some have disregarded. So there are many activities you have to do in this respect. So change management deal with this concern with these things. The duplicate change requesting on we identify these are the duplicate, therefore second request can be removed. Right? There's a request, that request has already been registered, come and that has been assigned for the implementation. So in that case, it's already considering, and in that case, that request can be ignored. Like that. Then the fourth activity, release management. So once the software is ready for, versions are ready for delivery, distribution, then it has to be released for the relevant people. That process is called releasing, software releasing. Software release is something, some version that is distributed for customer for use. So release management involves preparing the software for external release and keeping track of system versions that have been released to different customer for use. The customer distribute කරනවා නේ ඒ process එක manage කරන්න තමයි මේ release management and the goal of release management. So in high level, four umbrellas identified: version management, system building, change management, and release management. So we'll discuss all these four sections in due course. So version management, system building, change management, release management, these are four main processes. And the next slide. Okay, I have emailed you now. You can find it in your email box if you have access to computer immediately for email access. The version management is about handling versions, as I mentioned, handling component version, managing component version. One example, another example could be activity. Two developers working on the same component, their work should be overwritten by one over another. Why different component can have many versions? I can give an example. Let's assume that there's a component, program component that is sorting your data, sorting the customer record in ascending order of the customer name or customer number. So C1 here only sort your data in ascending order of certain field. Now this is not sufficient. We want to now add another feature, short in both directions. Short in both directions. So we will not going to rebuild this component again. We are not going to rebuild the new component, rebuild a new component again. Instead of we use the existing component C1 and create a new version of C1. You can call it C1.fun, 1.fun. So C1.fun has the capability of sorting your data in both directions, ascending order or sorting order. So new component now is the version of the previous one. Previous one now has the capacity to sort data in both directions. So C1.1 is a new component version of C1. C11 is a new component version of component C1. तो බලන්න මේ number එකම අපි මෙතන use කරලා දෙනවා. The first component is C1 and its first version is 1, or if I call it 1.0, that is the first version. First version of the component. Now it has been changed now C11. The same number 1, following number ekamai. That indicate that the same component is used to derive the second one. That is to derive the 1.1 version 1 is used. දැන් මෙතන පළවෙනි එක එකනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ 11 කියන එක ඇදෙන්නේ මේ C1 වලින්. C1 වලින්. Same නම. එකම නම පළවෙනි එකේ නම පළවෙනි එක digit එක එක, දෙවෙනි එකේ digit එක පළවෙනි digit එක එක. ඒ කියන්නේ එතකොට ඒ දෙවෙනි version එක ඇදිලා තියෙන්නේ පළවෙනි එක. Likewise if you have this another component added here, C1.2, this indicate that 1.2 is created from 1.1. The arrow indicate that. The arrow indicates saying that 1.1 is created from 1.2 is created from 1.1. So version management will do the job with many other tasks, and output is a component. Task is to manage the component versions. Component versions are handling here. Also, I mentioned for system building, current component version is required to select. Later version or required component version need to be assembled to make the to build the product. So that's why component version is working as input for these two, system building and version management. So we have component version available as input for system building and version management, and output is system version. Make a component version, make a system version. The system is composed of many components, sometimes 100,000 of components. So creating a system, and here now you have a new system version. New system version. And system version is input for change management and release management. For change management, change proposal and system version is taken because now system is version change request is for a particular version. Change request again developer ne. तोकर developer ने developers का ने तो कोटा यार a system version ने का recognize करेगा no. You have to identify the correct version to be changed. And also for release management, versions are released to the customer. Therefore, for release management, system version is input. The system version is input for both release and change management, and result is system releases. Result is system releases. Now, these are umbrella activities. Version management, system building, change management, release management are umbrella activities under which there could be many sub-activities. Let's take some example for the sub-activities. So we have umbrella activities here. The top umbrella is the configuration management. So top one is the configuration management, under which top proof is configuration management, under which we have other four and under each one you may have many other sub activities. So what are these sub activities? So configuration management, CM policies and procedures define how to record and process proposed system changes. What are the policies and what are the procedures you should use in recording and processing proposed system changes? So when the system change is requested, you have to record it in the system, and how to proceed with the proposed system change. Then comes the change request, then you have to identify the correct component need to change, because we have a large component collection, component database. Choose a correct component among others which should be changed to meet this request. Then different versions are there. How to manage different versions? That comes under version management and its components. And in this process, we are using tools. So CM tools are used to keep track of change proposal, store versions of system components, build systems from these components, and track the releases of the system versions to components. So this software configuration, this comes under software quality management. The area this configuration management fallen is big area is software quality management. The make enable software testing, quality assurance also come under this software quality management. So it depends on the size of and complexity of your product. So large companies with different products under development and sale, they are handling many products, and in that case, not single one. If the work volume is high, this quality management and less volume of work compared to the then you can have one person assigned for both responsibility. So anyhow, so usually components are tested by the programmers. Units are tested by the people who develop, implement them to simplify the process. ඒගොල්ලෝ දන්න item ඒගොල්ලෝනේ unit test ඒගොල්ලෝ develop කරේ ඒගොල්ලෝනේ. ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි අරට දන්නේ මේක test කරන්න කොහොමද කියලා. So units are tested and they are developed and they are tested by the programmers themselves, developers themselves. Then it will be handed over to the quality assurance team for final checking. There could be system integration can be there. So they combine these units to make modules, to make larger modules. By integration them, then we have to perform integration testing for this integration. Then these bigger modules further integrate to get much larger modules, test them. And once all integration is done, the system will be tested as a whole. So after development and testing, unit testing completed, it will be handed over to the development team, to the quality assurance team. So product now moves to hands of QA team. Then QA team responsible for complete the testing process, and he will decide whether system quality can be accepted or not accepted. If the quality is not accepted, means faults are encountered, then product can be returned back to the developers for fixing the product. So this will repeat until you can have acceptable products. If QA team checks and system is acceptable quality, then we call it a baseline product, baseline system, or control system. Once the QA team accept the product quality or all tests are passed, then it will become a control system. Control system are sometimes called baseline systems. So baseline systems are baseline system is a system where the QA team has accepted it as of right quality. All tests has passed. So baseline system is a system that is approved by the QA team for its quality. So this baseline system therefore can use for further evolution. මේක approve කරන්න දෙන්න එතකොට approve කරලා accept කරලා දෙන්න ඉස්සරහට යන්න ඕන නම් ඉස්සරහ in the future if you want to change this system, this baseline system is using as the starting point. Starting point. ආයි පස්සේ ගන්න එතනින් තමයි පටන් ගන්න ඉස්සරහට. Now, if you now baseline since the baseline system is a accepted system, if you want to do changes to the system, you have to get approved from some other body, what we call configuration control board. අපි ඒකට කතා කරමු change management process එකේදී. In here, around says if baseline systems need to be changed, those changes need the approval, and these changes should be recorded and before they are implemented. The baseline system, but the reason for this control system or baseline system is the driver for the future, right? If we are doing changes to the baseline system, somebody, some other body, some person or group should be given the approval for that, and all changes to the baseline system therefore should be recorded before any implementation is done. Then configuration management standards. Now, if the company wants to get the quality certification, so in the business field, getting quality certification is very important, because there are competitors, lots of competitors. The quality certification ensure that during the production process, it could be not only software but applied for other products as well, that we are using proper procedures in the production process. Standard procedures, proper procedures are using, then you will get the certification. If you have the certification, it's easy to market the product. Because people know so this product is a result of a scientific production process using standard methods and monitoring process. So standard production and monitoring process is there, so people be confident that this these procedures have been approved, and therefore it's easy to market. Simple example, let's assume the education scenario, education institute, let's university or higher education institute. If they want to get the quality certification, if you want to get the quality certification for your degree programs or for any institute, let's say they want to get the certification for their computing degree from British Computer Society or IEEE, Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. These are worldwide standard bodies, recognized by many people, and they are standards. Assume that you want to get IEEE standards for your computing degree in a university. So you have to do many things. For examples of that, there should be proper teachers with teachers qualification of the staff. Then lab facilities. What are the facilities available for practicals? Then quality of the exam question papers, right? Quality of the answers, right? Exam questions papers check karna, check karna, right? The assignments given, the answers, exercise given, the answers. They are checking the module descriptors, details of a particular module. What are the topics going to be covered? What are the how many hours have we allocated? How many tutorial classes been assigned. How if required for practicals are required, then are there in relevant practical hours being assigned? Evaluation process. Paper set karan passe question paper has to be moderated by someone. Whose moderation comments moderate කරලා කියන්නේ paper second check කරන්න තමයි කවුරුහරි. question second check කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට යාගේ feedbacks adjust කරලා තියෙනවා. මේ ඔක්කොම document වෙන්න ඕනේ, right? the moderation කරපු paper එකයි ඒකට evidence තියෙනවා. module descriptors modules වල details syllabus එක තියෙනවා ඒවා document ලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. document ලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. your exam conducting process එක marking තොහක් කරන විදිය grading system එක, right? ඊට අමතරව තව තියෙනවා ගොඩක් administrative works test කරනවා. ළමයින්ට අවශ්‍ය තරම් තියෙන්න ඕනේ supporting facility LMS facilities තියෙන්න ඕනේ supporting services like education එක කරන්නේ ඒවට sports වගේ දේවල් like canteens, healthcare, ඒ වගේ දේවල්. It's a local process there, right? So if you want to get the certification, their requirement has to be fulfilled. Otherwise, they don't give. If you get it, then you are safe. Then you can your product, your degree can be marketed. You get my software, right? So if you want to get the quality certificate to your company, you have to use these quality standards, CM quality standards and procedures, policies has to be used. So as far as software is concerned, these standards can be given by IEEE, one authorization body, again ISO standards, ISO 9000, and okay, CM and CMI, okay, keep at who can do certification for you. So they will have the honest standards, and at minimum level you have to keep these standards, but you can do improvement. You take the minimum of that. You can customize it for your organizational needs. For example, if you for configuration management planning, IEEE has a standard name 8298. Circulars වගේ තමයි ඒවා circulars වල numbers තියෙනවානේ. There's so many circulars issued by the government from time to time. So to identify the circular number, then you use circular 11. To identify this 11 circular, you use a number. If you don't have a number maintained, it's difficult to track the circular. The circular number is needed to get the circular and read the content. එතකොට මේ ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එක ලේබල් කරලා තියෙනවා 1998 කියලා 828 is standards defined for only for planning CM purpose, planning purpose of CM. So these standards are focusing on CM process and documents produced during the CM process. And if you want to get this certification, following these standards are important. So these standards might define, explain how items are numbered. how items are numbered. The udharanathu component has version. Version can be numbered. Version can be identified. In other words, version. So there should be a way to identify the item. Item can be a component, document, or any other artifact, data file. So there should be a way to anyhow to identify the item. One standard is that you can use the name. Use a name. Then component name. Component name. For example, let's say now there a short example a component name can be short in. That component is sorting data, ascending and descending order. What he gets will be ordered in ascending or descending order. So you can name that component as sort. Short. In addition to that, to identify different versions of the component, one way that you can use is to use numbers. The first version you can number as 1. The short one is the first version for 1.0. 1 කියලා දාන්න පුළුවන් 1.0 දාන්න පුළුවන්. Then what is the next version of the same component? So you make a addition initially only ascending order, then at short descending order. So this is a new component now with no codes doing two things. The second one can be short 1.2. That's how these items are identified. Okay, system, how to identify version? Version should have a name. To differentiate between name, differentiate between two versions, name is not sufficient. Name is not sufficient. I sort them. I thought as the version negative, completely namadhan. Short them. ABC. There's no relevance, no track between these two. This can be avoided, but you can use the same name, general name, sorting and sort, sort and sort. Next version will be a sort. So first version name is sort, second version name also sort, but to differentiate between two versions, we can use a numeric number. 1.0, the second version 1.1. Next one 1.3, short 1.3 and so on. How changes are controlled? How changes are controlled? How new versions are managed? So we'll discuss this in changes. How changes are controlled in change control in change management. How versions are controlled managed in version management. So you can define standards for naming the change process, so version management process. And one standard, as an example, one standard procedure that you can use when waterfall model is adapted for software development. These are the standards they propose. If waterfall model is using for software production, the standard they propose is given in the next slide. To see a standard for if waterfall model is using for production development. CM standard, configuration management standards for waterfall model. So what is the step 1 here? So they said that software is delivered to the QA team. Software is delivered to the QA team. Configuration management quality management process. අපි requirements වලින් පටන් ගන්න නැහැ මෙතන. requirements වලින් පටන් ගන්න නැහැ. අපි පටන් ගන්නේ testing වලින් පටන් ගන්න. After development is complete, so QA team it take up the job after development is complete, and unit testing is done. So once the component testing has been concluded, the software component will be handed over to the QA team for integration and system testing. So components units are handed over to the QA team for integration and for integration testing, and after that system testing. So second activity, QA team build the complete system from these components, and system testing is done. System testing is done. If faults are discovered during testing, by the QA team, they are not going to fix the faults. People are fix because they are not the people who developed it, and they need to understand the code before doing any changes. It's very easy, therefore, to do the job to the people who made it. So if faults are discovered during the testing, pass the component back to the development team to repair the fault. Then they will come up with a new version of the component, repaired component. So whenever a change is made to a component, the resulting component is a new version. Whenever you do a change to a component, the resulting new component is a new version of the component. After repair, then they will be components are sent back to the QA team again, and they again perform system testing. If further faults are found, the process repeat. So this is going to circle until QA team decide that quality is acceptable. No faults cannot be furthermore. No further faults can be found. Therefore, they will accept the product. So that system now become a baseline system. That will become a baseline system for future enhancement. So these are CM procedures. So in configuration management, one of the activities, high-level activities, creating standards, defining standards to be used in the process, development process. So increment and delivery. For example, in Agile, so some generic features of Agile is that we make an Agile process models we discuss in third year level. Maybe you have some kind of idea, about what Agile means. So CM, this waterfall model you already know. So one basic principle of Agile is that, feature of Agile is that you develop software as increments, small increments. Small increments are released to the customer in short period of time. Sometime every 3 weeks new release will become, every 3 weeks, every 2 to 3 weeks the new release will come. Also in this new release, compared to the previous one, not too many things are added. A few enhancements done for the previous release to create the new release, because time is short, saying that every 2 to 3 weeks we have a new release. Since time is short, we have no time to do so many changes. During small time periods, small increments has to be improved with adding small increments to. So regular releases of short size and short time period. So what they do is they will set this is a procedure, standard procedure proposed for incremental development. For example, set a delivery time. Set a delivery time. So every day at 2 o'clock. Every day at 2 o'clock. So delivery time is set for system components to be sent to the QA team. Assume every day we have to, if the component is available, it should be sent to the QA team at 2. They make they sometimes called daily bill software. Daily bill software. So if developers have new version of the component that are written, they must be delivered to the QA team at the time mentioned. Maybe you don't have any version to send. In that case, doesn't matter. But if you have something to be tested, something that can test, then do it, released. New version no new version is available for send. It doesn't matter, but if you have something that you can test, send it. The components may not be complete. You don't need to have the component complete, but there should be something at least to test. There's no requirement for the to send a complete component. But if there is something available for testing, sufficient for testing, then send it. So new version can therefore delivered for testing with the predefined test cases that recognized early. If faults are discovered during testing, they will be documented and returned to the system developers for fixing the fault, repair the fault. So they can repair these faults in a next version of the component. The components this on a daily basis. So daily basis this happen. So if any repair is needed to correct the fault, you can do it in the next immediate release. Comes on maybe tomorrow. This how procedure that you can use in a incremental development model. So what are the advantages of daily based software over waterfall model? Compare the difference between a waterfall model and a daily based software. You know, in a waterfall model, the system has to be complete before any testing taking place. Kali are in hand. All units required has to complete, and once the unit testing complete only, integration and system test can be done. So that means if faults encountered, the faults are recognized, identified later in the development process. To complete the components and complete unit testing, it takes time. To develop the components required to build the whole system, to create the component that those are required to build the complete system, takes some time. Then we have to wait such time if you want to integrate the components together and perform the system testing. In other words, for system testing, it's taking some time to do that. But in daily based software, every day at time T, you send something for QA team. This enable identifying faults very early. If faults are there, they can be identified at very early stage. We don't wait till last time. So that's one reason faults can be identified very early. Second reason, if you deliver a faulty component, because of that, whole system will fail. If you deliver a faulty component, as a result of that, whole system will fail. And because of your fault, and entire system is now unable to test. Because that's a fault in the component you develop. This encourage you to perform a thorough unit testing. The mama ne program unit develop kare mama tama unit testing kara. The mama faulty product carry hote ma UAT megara. It will affect the whole system, and system testing will collapse. Cannot do. That encouraged me to do rigorous unit testing, powerful unit testing, thorough unit testing. So these are some advantages of the daily build software. Now, if you take agile development and what is the CM procedure? Daily based software is one method. So we have daily based software. Also, I said in agile, short releases. Releases should be made available in short time, within 2 to 3 weeks. And increment size should be short. Body enhancement should be done in continuously and additions you made should be not of a small size. Enhancement not too many big enhancements, small enhancements. Because things are happening on a regular basis within short time period. In agile, the system will change several times per day. Therefore, as far as agile is concerned, tool support is very important. So this component version can be kept in a shared repository, a shared database. I mentioned earlier, sometime there may be a requirement for two developers at the same time working on the same component. A single component at the same time, there are 2 or 3 people are working on that. How this manage? How can this be managed? So version of the components are held in the repository. What developers are doing is copy this component to their own desktop or computer, on workspace. Take copy of this component version to your machine. Then do the changes. So these changes are happening in your machine. Then you can do testing you want. So the repository machine. Then you change the source code, and after testing, if you feel that this is okay, the fault has been fixed. If you're happy with that, then you can return the modified component to the project repository. This ensure that the modified components are available for other team members, because it is in a shared repository. It is in a shared repository, and those changes are now available for others. How come? So I said at the same time, 2 developers can work, or 2 or 3 or more developers can work on the same component. Because developers are working with a copy of the component, which is repository. So you maintain a repository there, it can be shared. So you take a copy of that to your computer. The next person also take a copy of that component to his computer. This is repeating. Copy they work with the copy. That means two people or three can work on the same component at the same time. The changes කරන් පස්සේ ආයි එතකොට මේ the change component has to be saved in the repository. So then now the two people are now working on the same thing. So now there should be a mechanism to handle, make sure that one person change just should not be override by other and otherwise. කෙනාගේ වැඩ එතකොට override නොවෙන්න පගබලා ගන්න ඕනේ. This is done by the CM through many strategies. Your techniques, we'll discuss them later on. It's possible that two or more persons can work on the same module because they are working with a copy of the component, which can be in your computer. Then we have development phase, testing phase, and release phase. Then at the development level, the development team can be given the responsibility. Basically in Agile, this is happening in Agile. In Agile methods, the human people are accepted and their skills are recognized, their strengths are recognized during giving the high priority for the people during the development process. The Agile like a feature that my people skills, their experience, their talents are considered over procedures and tools. So the developers has given much more freedom for selecting their own methods to be used in development process. That's the feature of Agile. Those strict procedures and rules, the development people group has given the freedom to select their own base of doing developments. That's why, since they are given the freedom to select their own ways, people's skills are required for this, experience, their knowledge. Sure, it's person is inexperienced and less skilled. If you given the freedom to choose his own way, then it's a problem. If this is to work, the developers should do its part. They should have skills and experience. If you were to make the choices, that's happened in Agile. The team is responsible for managing the software configuration. A new functionality can be added to the software. So development team can decide on changes to be made. So several change requests has come, so they can decide what changes should be done. They don't flexibility, they can find their own ways of working. They can decide on what kind of addition should be done, and if changes are required, how to what changes should be done. Decision is the hands of development team. So in testing phase, a version of system is raised for internal testing. Internal testing. External testing is you can sometimes can do beta testing. Sometimes leads for testing to the outside customer. Beta testing. For beta version के लिए testing is done by external people. Do you know what is the meaning of really the beta version? So there could be two types of testing: alpha testing and beta testing. Alpha testing, depending on the audience, where testing responsibility is distributed. In alpha testing, product is tested by internal testers, and product is with the support of customers. So alpha testing is done basically for custom software. In custom software is developed for only for one or few customers. One or few customers. They are not generally purpose, not for open market for large volume of customers. Those are generic type software. The MS Word, MS Office, Windows, whatever is generic type software. It's for the huge collection or large volume of customer database. Yeah, the customer volume is too high. Sometimes unto thousands, millions. But generic custom software is produced for one or two or few customers, like hotel management systems, hospital management systems, then software used in aviation industry only for aviation people. So the alpha testing already we select a customer. It's for one or few customers. So testing is done with the help of the one customer. The software can be installed in his working environment. The number is few, install there, and you do the alpha testing there. Like both alpha testing and beta testing are two types of acceptance testing. So ultimately, customer has to agreed check for his system quality, acceptable or not. The customer has to check whether system developed meet his requirement. System is delivering the service which is required for him. It's like, so alpha testing is done by the customer, generally acceptance testing done by the customer. Before he is actually accepting the product, you should check it. So ensure that his system behavior is comply with the specification. I can give an example now. Let's say now you want to buy a trouser or cloth. So the cloth you buy is a production from the factory. So in the production line, this trouser or gown or whatever shirt or You want to buy, it has been tested there by the quality assurance people at each line of the production. Each production line is be tested. If the quality is passed only, it will be packed and come to the shopping mall. So what you are getting is already tested product. The software system released to the customer is already tested product done by QAT. ඒතර shopping mall එකට ගියාම ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගන්නවා ඉතින් ඒක select කරගන්නවා. You don't just simply buy it, or you sometimes you want to do some fitting. You go to the fitting room and check it, wear it and check. It's acceptance testing. You might decide to reject it because maybe you have found some faults there, some errors of the machinery, machines cutting errors, then minor dosha recognize. It is the size එක ගහලා තියෙනවා මේ 15 කියලා. Size එක ගහලා තියෙනවා 15, but actually it's like maybe more than that, and maybe it's be less than. So you reject that. You don't accept it. So beta testing is usually software is developed for large volume of customer. So individual address කරන්න බෑ. So what you do is to distribute, select few customers and ask them to use it in their computers. Maybe you distribute it through the internet. So beta version කියන්නේ අපි නම් download කරගෙන අපි use කරනවා. That's beta testing. So they will give you opportunity to use it. And the bugs comes, they will automatically register, log in their manuals. Errors ආපුවම ඒවා automatically ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ registers වල ලියවෙනවා. ඒක නිකන් දෙන්නේ නැහැ, ආසාවට දෙන්නේ නැහැ. So that's beta testing. Based on those attempts, and if errors are encountered, those will be used even the next future releases and they will be fixed. So in the agile the responsibility of testing is maybe a individual group who work on that, and new system functionality not added. So you can, without adding new functions, but you can do changes to fix bugs and improve performance improvement. Efficiency, security issue is non-functional system qualities can be adjusted by taking 11 steps. So customer requirement can be there, customer involvement can be there in Agile. So customer involvement is there in Agile, so they can work as a part of the development team, but their role is assisting the developer in testing. එතකොට මේ මගේ requirement මේකයි, එහෙනම් මේක this is my requirement, he knows, and you can check the output and observe the system behavior. So that testing because he is involving, so program is run with the inputs and data input, and behavior can be observed, and you can observe the output result. Then release, after testing is done, release phase where software is released to the customer for use. once system is released and distributed to use, customer may found new bugs, and these bugs will be reported back, and he may also need new additions, new change requests and made by him to the development team or to the company. So again, then a new version will be released to adjust this, repair these bugs and add these new functions. So why releases are coming from time to time? Because of requests made by the customers for the enhancement and bug reports, bug repairing bugs.